Welcome, Jedi Council, to the third podcast of the, season 6, season 5, did we say, of the Jedi Council?
Yeah, let's get Ezekiel and Melvin and the Chipmunks here to bring you another episode.
Sorry for another late episode, guys. I know we're getting it to you just before week 3 starts, but never late than never.
Better late than never.
Late than never.
But never late is better.
Starting off like last week. Bunch of word slips. Starting us off, we're going to begin with some news and notes from around the league.
Brought to you by Burger King, where you can have it your way. And I have these new Cheetos chicken fries. I'm going to be eating them as a podcast, hoping to give you guys a live review. And there are friends over there at Burger King, and we appreciate them. So let's get started with the news and notes.
So let's get started. Like our song at the intro said, it was a bloody, bloody Sunday. We are going to touch on the injuries a little later in the show, though. So in other news, just recently, ASJ, Austin Seferius Jenkins, was recently released by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers due to a DUI. That guy cannot stay out of trouble. He is screwing up all the darn time.
See, I don't understand that. You make $1.3 million. Call an Uber. Or even Uber Black. I mean, it's 0.0001% of your paycheck. And now he has legal trouble and he got cut from his team.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I don't see a lot of upside for him going forward. I mean, he was an athletic tight end, but he didn't really prove much in his short-lived career with Tampa Bay. I don't know if he'll get picked up by anyone. We'll take a risk on poor attitude and immaturity.
Come on, man.
Other
news. My boy, Josh Gordon, everybody seems like they're trying to get him down. Some woman called about a paternity test and an arrest warrant. But, hey, that's not going to affect him going forward. He took the test, got the legal issues figured out, and I expect a strong showing from him come week 5.
I could not agree more. I think, you get very iffy with these suspended players and how they're going to react and how they're going to play in the season, especially with players like Josh Gordon. But I think we can see a WR1 performance from him from week 5 out in the rest of the season, barring injury, of course. Other news: Bills fire their offensive coordinator. That is a rough-looking squad right now. They signed Tyrod Taylor before the season started. It's just a multi-million-dollar contract, huge, and they still can't get things clicking. It's
I don't know. I feel like at some point the blame has to be on their head coach.
Rex Ryan, he is just cursed every team he goes to. I'll tell you what.
Look at the Jets now, they're just gone. What are they?
2-0. And they're looking great with debatably the best receiving core in the entire league. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fear the Beard, is slinging the ball.
Fitz magic, baby.
It's a beautiful thing. Most importantly, we want to cover outside of the injury in our news is we had the first trade this past week dealing with Jamaal My Children and Crows Before Hose. We saw Jamaal give away actually the player his team is named after, Jamaal Charles and Alshon Jeffrey, in order to ironically gain the player Rawson's team is named after, Isaiah Crowell and Larry Fitzgerald. I know we had some differences on this trade and what we thought and who we thought won. You want to start us off and what you think about it?
Yes, I think Jay won the trade. The players that Rawson got, not only do they have a history of injury concerns, and that's Jamaal Charles' knees. Did he tear his ACL last season? Yeah. And before that, he may have torn his other ACL. Jeffrey always seems like he has lingering hamstring issues. Mm-hmm. And what I am most concerned about with Jeffrey, other than his hamstring issues, is his quarterback situation.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a buddy of ours who talks a lot about the sports around the world. He actually works for ESPN. We're going to try to get him on the phone and see what he thinks about the quarterback situation over in Chicago. It's I think that's, with Jay Cutler's thumb injury, I think that plays a big role into whether Alshon's going to be, a productive WR1 this year. And I think we can gain some insight into this situation. So let's see if we
actually have him on the phone. Somebody who we know, love, and trust, Stephen A. Smith. And so, Stephen, what do you think about the quarterback situation in Chicago, and how is that going to affect Alshon Jeffrey's numbers going forward?
The city of Chicago to ban this man from the city of Chicago. This dude is the worst quarterback in the NFL. He is an absolute joke. He always has been, he is, and he will remain that way until somebody gets inside of his head, because people on constant occasions keep deferring to his talent, his arm strength, his ability to make throws, his athleticism. Of course, Jay Cutler is talented in that regard, but that's exactly why I call him the worst quarterback in the NFL, because with those attributes at his disposal, he is still weak mentally. He is still somebody that is leaderless. He is somebody that brings absolutely positively nothing to the table. And I do mean absolutely nothing to the table that galvanizes the troops around him and get them to maximize their abilities. The Chicago Bears should get rid of Jay Cutler quick, fast, in a hurry. He is a football abomination. He is the worst kind of quarterback you can possibly have. I don't give a damn who you can go out there and get. Anybody but him. Because at least you know guys like McCown and others will cry if they can't play because they want to play so badly, because they want to be there for their teammates. But Jay Cutler will quit. The last time I saw that man smile was when he was signing his contract. That's the only time in his career in Chicago I've ever seen him smile. Actually, in his entire NFL career. It was like he was laughing at Chicago and the NFL and football fans everywhere that somebody was stupid enough to give him that damn money. He is a joke. He is a horrible quarterback because he cannot lead, and he will not galvanize troops around him. The quicker they get rid of him, the better.
Thank you, Stephen A. We always love having you on the show, and I couldn't have said it better myself.
Man, I just hope he doesn't hear that.
So I know Jay's an avid listener of our podcast.
Yeah, he is, and it's tough for us to show so much hate, but to underperform like he has over the years, it's deserved at this point. So those are great points on that side of the trade. I get the Jay Cutler situation. I get the injury situation. But where I'm coming from, one, you can't go into fantasy and you can't play and expect to win a league when you just expect injuries the whole time. Injuries are going to happen. You're going to have to take risks. And if you look at, especially Jamaal Charles, he's torn his ACL before once already and came back to be the number 1, number 2, number 3, somewhere in that area, running back in the league. The reports from the Chiefs are just incredible right now. They're in love with him. Spencer Ware's been incredible, and they're still saying Jamaal Charles is their go-to. He's going to be great this year. He's back to form. He's as good as he used to be.
He's eager to get out there, too. I heard reports of him that he was chomping at the bit to get back on the field.
Yep. And it's to get rid of that highly of a skilled running back is, I don't know. I just don't see it, especially for the likes of someone on the Browns.
Yeah,
Crowell. Isaiah Crowell, who
he's put up RB1 numbers thus far, but
they saw 2 big runs.
It's a small sample size. I project him to be an RB2 rest of the season with RB1 upside.
And I would say an RB3 maybe with RB2 upside. And on the side of Alshon, I mean, even without Jay Cutler, Brian Hoyer is known to gunsling it to his elite receiver no matter what. So he's going to toss a bunch of interceptions, but he's going to toss a bunch of big balls that Alshon catches in the end zone. Alshon's one of the best receivers in the league. Larry's getting old. I know he's still catching his touchdowns, but that ball is going to get spread between David Johnson, Michael Floyd, Larry Fitzgerald, John Brown, whoever Jerron was, he came up last week. That was
the other Jay Brown.
Yeah, so I see it as a big loss to Jay. I see it as an impulsive decision, as being 2-0. I think he had time to wait it out and see what happened with the loss of AP, and to see how Rashad Jennings could pan out, what Jamaal could have done going forward. I think he rushed into a decision. He's in a comfortable spot at 2-0, and I think it was rash.
Yeah, well, I just want to weigh in on Larry Fitzgerald real quick. I think Palmer has finally realized over the past season or two that he's Old Faithful, and as long as Larry stays healthy, he's going to keep getting fed the ball.
Yep.
I think that's all we have to say about the trade and the news and notes from around the league.
Absolutely.
So we're going to move on to a new segment that we're bringing to you guys. Power rankings.
Our power rankings. And this isn't based off the records in our league, the total points scored. This is kind of what Let's Get Ezekiel and myself.
And 42 other of our fantasy expert gurus.
Across various different, ESPN, NFL, independent ones like us. There's a lot of good people out there, and they pay attention to our league closely. We averaged out everyone's power rankings, and this is kind of what it came to be, if you will. We took into account what we like about the teams, players going forward,
injuries.
We take a lot into account. We work hard on this. So without further ado, our power rankings, 1 through 11. We have number 1 as Old Legs and Crab Legs, otherwise known as Papa Lobo.
He is just complete all across the board.
It's a good-looking team. Unfortunately, I have to play him this week.
Number 2, we have myself, Let's Get Ezekiel.
Yep. I think you have a formidable team with a lot of upside. I don't know if they've performed yet to where they can be, but it looks good this week and going forward. Number 3, we have a team has no name.
He's the point leader. The overall number 1. I think he's sitting there at 270, 280 points.
Something like that. And going into week 3, we still have faith. His 2 best running backs are going to be gone probably after week 3, but as of now, he's going to stay up there. And if
he also just added me on Snapchat like 10 minutes ago. I just currently am asking some of his friends if his My Stars are worth it to add him back. So I may or may not add you back.
There we go. Number 4, we have myself, Melvin and the Chipmunks. That was kind of a consensus across the board, I think, out of
we all had 30,
42 analysts, 35 of us had me right at 4, which was
right where you belong, if you ask me. Number 5, the Great Bandino.
The Great
always
Bandino.
Always a solid competitor, so belongs up there.
And, between Bandino at number 6, we have my ball, Zach Ertz. Is that right? Am I getting that right?
Yes, that is correct.
A lot of disparity between the analysts and these two. We had them as high as 4 and as low as 10, I think, between those two guys.
Matthew Berry had them rated at 10.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. But yeah, Great Bandino, and then my ball, Zach Ertz. Number 7, we have Jamaal Charles, our
Jamaal My Children,
league reigning champion. Jamaal My Children, sorry.
Get hyped, he'll be a guest later on in the show.
And number 8, we have Aditya. Not the most solid players, but I think competitive players where he's still getting guaranteed points.
Out of the bottom dogs of our league, he's the one that I wouldn't want to play. He's the one that could, the Los Angeles Rams, that could spoil me as the Seahawks,
Right. I could not agree more. Number 9, we have Maze and Chew. You and I especially went back and forth between Aditya and Maze and Chew. I thought Maze should have been ahead of Spot, but with averages of Cannon as 9. There's questions with both of them. I think it could go both ways.
What can you do? Can you just rank them?
Yep. Number 10, we have Crows with 4 Hoes. I know you had something special you wanted to say about it. Our commissioner, Roston, Crows with 4 Hoes, is complaining a lot about getting scored the most points against in the first 2 weeks. And
those complaints need to be addressed on air because, I'm sick of them, frankly. He was complaining, it is true, week 1 faced the highest scoring opponent. And then week 1 and 2, actually, he faced the highest scoring league mate. And that is tough luck. But when we look at your true record, your breakdown record, you're 3-19. That's tied for last in the league with Mason Chu. Meaning that if you played everybody in the league, you would have only won 3 games.
Right. And you look at week 1 right here in the game center, and he had 73 points. Everyone beat him by at least 20. So
73, that's laughable. Most people beat that with 4 or 5 guys.
There's really no argument. You're lucky to be ranked at 10. You could definitely be the very bottom at 11 in this league. And last but not least, unfortunately, we have Mourning Woodhead. No longer mourning as a good morning. We are now truly mourning and shedding a tear for this guy's team. Of all the people to be affected by Bloody Sunday, he took it the worst. Which is a bummer because he's a solid manager. He is playoff dependable guy. Doesn't always close at the end, but a competitor at its best. And he took a beating.
He did. He lost Woodhead. He lost Martin. I mean, those are 2 RB1s that just not going to have him available.
Blew it for him. You know, and he's got Russell, who's just battling that injury as well. Someone you can't really trust. So that is our power rankings. We'll update them week to week as the season moves along. Expect a lot of names to move around. By no means do we predict this to be how the season ends, but as of now, this is what we like most in the teams and where we have everyone following.
All right, we're going to move on to our next segment. We're going to talk about waiver acquisition budgets, which is something our league is new to, and we're all kind of dipping our toes in the water, figuring things out. So I don't know, John, you want to run through basically who bid on who went for what?
Yeah. So it was really our first big waiver week coming in week 2. Week 1, waiver wire was pretty bland, not many injuries, nothing much to pick up except for, small needs here and there, defense, kickers, couple tight ends. But we saw a lot of activity this week. That first one to be picked up, Morningwood had dropping 26 points on Fozzie Walker, which we'll touch on a little bit, and then Morningwood had dropping 10 points on Asiata. The next 2 highest come from me with Cameron Artis Payne at 9 points and Quincy Anunua at 9. Aditya Dennis Pitta for 5. Crows of 4 Hose beating me out with the Arizona Cardinals by bidding 2 points. I did the same thing, but he was higher on the priority. Great Bandino with the Eagles. Another defense for my ball, Zach Ertz. Ezekiel getting Dwayne Washington for free. I picked up Kenyon Drake. And then Jason Witten coming up off after I grabbed him from Old Legs and Crab's Legs. Stumbling over the words. So a lot of action.
I think value-wise, I rank myself high, and I hate to praise myself, but I think value-wise, I got the best guy in Dwayne Washington for free, because he's going to be seeing 10 to 12 carries, I think, going forward, and he has David Johnson upside.
Well, easy. That's saying a lot, but yeah, you definitely had a good pickup. I'm surprised he went for free. Obviously, I think between who won and who lost in this waiver wire section, we can talk about Morningwood again. Dropping 26 points on Fozzie Whitaker, who is not even predicted to be the starter this coming Sunday for the Carolina Panthers. Is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I get the 10 points for Matt Asiata. I don't know what other bids were out there, but I'll bet you they were decently high. He's shown in the past that even though McKinnon may start the game, he's going to end up as the better running back. He's going to get those goal line touches. He's going to break off for those longer runs. So I like that play.
No, I think I agree. Underwood is the clear loser here. He splurged, spending more than 1/3 of his budget on backups to backup running backs.
Mm-hmm.
And what can you say about that? I mean, not much.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
It's rough, and again, that's just another disappointment because we talk so highly of the kind of manager he is in this league, and he just real impulsive move is all you can say, I guess.
Panic. That's what I saw.
Little to no research done. The other pickup I like is the Dennis Pitta by Aditya. You could tell once he was back, no-hit Pitta was targeted a lot by Joe Flacco. He seems to be his most favorite, most reliable.
They have great, what's it called, rapport? They have great rapport between the two of those guys.
Yeah, and then the Jacob Tammy was actually picked up as a free agent by Peyton, my Balzac Ertz, which he's been playing very well as well. I was surprised to get Quincy Anunua, especially only at 9 points.
Right, I think he's a candidate who could really perform if one of those other guys goes down. He's
averaging 14 points a game with about 8 targets a game. Brandon Marshall, questionable this week. I mean, I'm happy to have him. Unfortunately, I have some other issues I have to deal with this week, so he may not be on the bench much longer. Yeah, so those are the transactions. I mean, it's a lot different this year. I probably spent an hour bidding and figuring out who I wanted and balancing it. If I didn't get this player for this price, then I'm going to drop this player and spend the same price on him. It's a confusing process.
It's tough. It's definitely tough. It's like real life. We call it fantasy football, but you have to budget in real life, and now you have to budget in fantasy. It's a Whole nother ballgame.
Life lessons, building character, and what more could we ask for? But yeah, I think that's it for our waiver wire recap.
I think it's time to bring our guest on air.
Let's give him his.
Welcome, Jay.
Hello. The reigning champion of the Jedi Council.
He's sitting like
Welcome to this. Actually, may be your third appearance in the podcast. Were you on twice last year in season 1?
I think I was only on one time.
One time.
Uh-huh.
Well, welcome back. We're
I
happy
always
to have
love
you.
having you on.
No, they're not terrible.
I know.
Even after reheated in the microwave and put in the fridge.
You'd think they'd be worse.
It's a very Friedel family move to put. They're more Wendy's prone and save it for a couple days later after sitting in the fridge.
Yeah, I remember we had a lot of Olga's snackers. That's right.
Yeah, no doubt.
Good stuff.
Well, yeah, welcome back.
Thank
First, formal congratulations from the Melvin and Chipmunks and Let's Get Physical podcast on the championship last year.
I appreciate it.
So,
I appreciate it. I'm excited to discuss it and certainly talk about.
Yeah, that's huge. You are in a small group of people to hold that title.
It feels good.
Definitely something I know Spock and myself aspire for.
Yeah, Lisa was actually dusting my trophy 2 weeks ago, so it's pretty.
Oh my!
So yeah.
Yeah, so you've started off at 2-0. Things looking up.
Yep.
I mean it's, and then you've had that big trade this week. So
Yeah.
I think first and foremost, let's hear what you think about that. What your thoughts were.
What was your reasoning behind making
Certainly.
that
You know, I think just in hearing each of your analysis, I mean, obviously, I think Spock kind of had the mindset that I was going with more so than John does. AP was a big, certainly a sad and tragic moment for me for multiple reasons. And I had Jamaal Charles. He's coming back this week.
Maybe.
I think he's ready to play. I think he'll be limited in his play. And so I thought, I was negotiating with Rawson. I had a few other people reach out to me about Jamaal Charles, but Rawson was really kind of negotiating from a stance of weakness.
Yeah.
And so, I felt like if Jamaal Charles did happen to look less than what he was expected to come back and be, I was going to lose all of my, any sort of gumption, whatever,
It's tough. Being live is tough.
to get something quality for him. So I thought, I know that there's some questions about Crowell. I know that it was a couple of big runs, but you can't discount that, I don't think, just because he's done it twice now. So maybe that's just what's going to happen when he carries the ball 22 times a game or 17 times a game. In regards to the Larry Fitzgerald pickup, I had him last year. He served me well for a good portion of the season, and I was excited to have him back on the squad. Alshon is, just the deal with Jay Cutler. I don't know. I mean, he's going to go up against a stout Vikings defense twice this year. He's going to go up against a stout Green Bay Packers defense twice this year. I don't think that they'll win a game in the NFC North, and so I think that, sure, they'll be throwing the ball a lot in the second half of the football games, but it just doesn't look promising. So I thought, given the fact that they were putting in their backups, the Cardinals were, it seems like a good place for the Cardinals to be and have Larry Fitzgerald back on the squad. So
Absolutely.
that was kind of my rationale behind it. I did, and so that's what I would say to your point, that I jumped the gun a little bit. I think yes, but intentionally, because I wanted to either keep Jamaal and see how he did, or get rid of him while his stock was still high. And if he comes out and he's the Jamaal we all expected him to be, then I think I still win the trade, because I think Alshon's going to underperform next to Larry Fitzgerald. So
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good argument. From my side, you could have easily gotten Latavius Murray out of me for Jamal, and I think that would have been a lot more upside, but you never came to me. With that said, I mean,
I don't like trading with you, John.
Larry Fitzgerald, well, that's a bummer.
Are you concerned at all that because last season Larry started off really hot? He was a top 10 wide receiver.
I think he was a top 1 wide receiver for like the first 7 weeks.
For 7 weeks, but that's what I wanted to talk about. The next 7 weeks, he kind of simmered down. Are you worried that he's going to simmer down?
You know, I've got a decent amount of depth on my bench. I've got Marcus Wheaton from the
Pittsburgh.
Steelers, and I think he might be somebody who's later on in the season going to be somebody who makes it off my bench and into my lineup. And so if Larry Fitzgerald's that guy, then Larry Fitzgerald's that guy. You know, I've got Eric Decker. So I feel like I've got some depth, and I think that, you know, this year the handcuffs of handcuffs have been handcuffed in regards to running backs. But receivers, I think there's some opportunity to pick up some big names a little bit later on the waivers. Haven't spent a nickel on my.
You know, and I was just noticing that, which is interesting. You lose AP. Before even going to that, I agree. Between Larry Fitzgerald and Eric Decker, I would say you potentially have 2 of the most consistent wide receivers in the league.
And Deshaun Jackson's fantastic. I mean, he's fine.
Yeah, he's more of an up and down player, I'd say. But you know, Larry and Eric have, I think, both are right around 18 straight weeks, including the 2015 season, of at least 80 yards in each game or a touchdown in each game, and that is the definition of consistency. With that said, bidding nothing on the likes of Asiata, Fozzie Whitaker.
I did bid on Fozzie Whitaker. I am stuck in regards to the Asiata, Jerick McKinnon thing. McKinnon was literally the next person I was going to draft, and Peyton swooped in and nabbed him in like the 12th round. And I agree with you. I think Asiata's going to have bigger runs. I think he's going to have less of them, and so I think it's going to be...
But still the goal line touches.
Possibly. But I think what's going to end up happening is it's going to be a point of frustration week after week, deciding whether you play McKinnon because last week he got you 4 points. The week before he had 12 points when you left him on your bench. So I just decided, you know, my research told me Fozzie was going to be a pretty dominant part of the offense, and so I thought I'd go for him, but I didn't want to spend too much money. Underwood didn't give us a clear depiction of what a big name waiver wire person is worth, seeing as he threw, you know,
A fourth of his fat.
Fortune.
So that was my opinion. I threw less than 10. I'll just say, obviously wasn't in the right mindset, but I feel good. Rashad Jennings is starting to. There's questions about him, his hand. He's going to be playing with a thumb cast this week, but yeah, I'd like to see him heat up a little bit too.
Yeah, I like that. And with all that said, I actually think the Vikings are going to be better off with AP. But that is for a different discussion.
Well, you know, I'm really happy to also say that my favorite team is they're playing the same way my team is playing, in that the Vikings defense has really given me a lot of satisfaction in football this year. So
very good. Alrighty. Moving on. We are going to play a usual game. This is a new one. In honor of Bloody Sunday. We are going to read you a name, and we want the location of the injury, whether they are questionable, out, doubtful, or playing.
Okay. It's quite the laundry list.
Quite the laundry list. We'll
I don't
try
know
to
how
get through
long
it
I'm going to
quickly.
do.
Spock and I will go back and forth. We're going to start with Brandon Marshall.
Hamstring.
Incorrect. Questionable.
MCL.
Questionable.
He's out.
He is questionable.
Oh.
Don't look at the list. That's cheating.
I'm not.
Do you want to follow every other, or you want me to read them off?
Julio Jones.
Hand, questionable.
Ankle.
But questionable, yes. Arian Foster.
Groin, questionable. Or he's out. He's out.
He's out, yes.
But I knew it was a
The
groin.
groin is correct.
Yes and yes.
Jay Cutler.
Cutler's arm or shoulder, and he's out.
I'll give you one. It's his thumb, I believe,
Oh, it's his
and
thumb.
he's doubtful.
What a
but I don't
bitch.
think he'll play. Yeah, what a bitch.
Delaney Walker.
This is a tough one. This was late news.
Not a concussion.
Hamstring and questionable doubtful play.
He's out.
He's out.
He's playing, I believe, actually.
Oh,
In very recent news.
Mm-hmm.
Let's rapid fire. Let's go.
Sammy Watkins.
Ankle.
Foot. How about Antonio Gates? Old man Gates.
Really killing me this week.
Concussion.
No.
Hamstring out.
Doubtful. Zach Ertz.
His balls.
He is out, and it's his rib.
Rashad Jennings.
It's his hand, but he's going to play.
Which hand?
Left hand.
Right hand.
He's going to play.
Rashad Jennings is his left hand.
This is right hand.
Look that up.
I have it right in front of me. Right hand.
And he's questionable, actually, still at the moment.
It said he was going to play. He's going to play with a thumb cast on his left hand.
Fair enough. Chris Ivory.
I don't know.
Illness and questionable.
How about AP? Let's see how much you know about your own hometown guy.
AP tore his meniscus, and he's on injured.
What kind of tear?
I don't
It's a bucket handle tear.
Okay.
Doug Martin.
No idea.
Jeez.
Hamstring, 3 weeks.
Thomas Rawls.
Arm.
Alright, moving on. Woodhead. It's a notable one. You should know this.
Oh, he tore his ACL.
And is he going to come back?
No, he's out.
Jay Stewie.
I don't know.
Handy.
You were looking at getting Fozzie and you're not researching what's going on with him? I mean, that could be a big reason in how much you
Hamstring
bid.
issues linger. So that's, I think, something to know.
I still wouldn't have given 24 points or whatever.
Well, if Stewie was out for the season.
Amir Abdullah.
That's his ankle.
We'll give it to you. It's his foot.
When he's out, he's doubtful.
He's
out.
on the IR.
He's on
Oh,
the
he's
IR.
on IR? I thought he was maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah. Garoppolo. Jimmy.
Did he hurt his shoulder?
Yep.
Left shoulder. Right shoulder.
What's his
This should be
status?
pretty easy.
I don't know.
Well, they already played. That should be.
Yeah.
Question.
Well, he got hurt during that game. Oh, no, wait.
They played Thursday. They literally played.
And, yeah, but
He didn't.
I lied.
He
was
dressed
the week
as
before.
the backup quarterback.
Yes.
All right,
What a
last
rookie,
one.
by the way.
Last one. Dante Moncrief.
Hamstring.
Fractured scapula.
He's out 6 weeks. At least.
Well, that was.
Beautiful.
I rely on the podcast to give me these updates. It's usually not me filling everyone in on that.
How did he do?
Well, not well. He got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe right out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 out of 12 out of 38. That's a fail. That's a heavy fail.
What is that, like 38%?
As reigning champ, I think we could speak for ourselves and the rest of the league. We would have expected a lot more knowledge of the happenings on Bloody Sunday.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that, and I know that there's a potential that I'll have the floor at some point to discuss the.
So yeah, let's wait for that opportunity.
Okay.
Before we give you the floor, a couple questions.
Sure.
Spock, you want to start us off?
Yeah, so as the reigning champ, you obviously have a big target on your back,
Yeah.
right? I know several league mates, including myself, are gunning for you. Tell me what it's like to be public enemy number one.
You know, it's challenging. I like that I'm able to put my head down. I was able to play golf a couple weeks ago with a few GMs, and we had a nice, cordial time. We didn't really talk too much sports. We mocked, I guess, somebody. I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not say about that person anymore. But
We don't know who you're talking about.
yeah, but it was fun. We had a good time. I think that the person who's got putting the most pressure on me is me. I want to be I want to hold on to that trophy. I've got plans for what I'm going to do with the earnings, but try and stay humble. So
Cool.
What's up?
Non-fantasy related, you are a recent newlywed. I guess that's redundant. If you're a newlywed. We have a couple other people in the league, one engaged, a couple others in pretty serious relationships. Having gone through the process, that engagement process, that wedding planning, that post-wedding, that honeymoon, and now a few weeks into the actual marriage, advice for them. our commissioner is engaged now. We know Bandino's in a very serious relationship, and although he's still living at his parents', we hope at some point he'll pull the trigger. And those might be the only two.
Yeah, I would say certainly focus on the ladies. They should be a first priority to them. Above fantasy football, above Sunday. They should be focusing on their significant others. At the end of the day, it's just a game, right?
Right.
So that was what I would say, and I think we should hold them accountable to that. I think we should reach out to Macy and Claire and let them know that.
I love it.
There's no reason that they can't, give them their full attention on a Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was.
Maybe we can bring them
on Saturdays
or
for the boys, not Sundays.
Exactly.
Right. Precisely, John. Sundays for family. So
Claire Macy, if you're watching this, we may reach out to you.
We may invite you onto the show. It's an honor. So don't deny us if we ask.
Become a citizen of the show.
Moving back into a fantasy-related question, in general, who have you been most impressed by, and why? And then who has been kind of, as you see it, your biggest disappointment in this league? Yourself cannot be part of this answer.
Yeah, I'd say obviously Colonial's looking pretty sharp. We gave him a decent amount of guff throughout the drafting board, but he's looking real svelte right now. I would say it's a tie between, for worst, it's probably a tie between Ralston and Underwood. Partly Underwood because I like to get under his skin, and he had such a good week 1, and then he came back and lost to me, and I put up, average numbers.
Yeah, pedestrian.
Yep, and so I'd say, given that he's only taking significant steps back, and he's put himself at a serious disadvantage having 63 points left in the waiver wire for the year. I don't know. He might find himself in a hole that he's not able to dig himself or climb out of.
Definitely.
You got anything else to ask?
That was my last question.
All right, so Jay, we give our guests an opportunity to preach to the choir.
Sure.
So the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with that said, we have had a few past guests that like to ramble. And
certainly, I'll be succinct. I've just got 3 points that I've thought a lot about in regards to what it takes to be a champion. I would say the first part is there are pieces to the waiver wire that I can't divulge to you, but it's about being strategic, and it's about examining it from a few different angles. And so I know that we've got some pretty strong researchers, but for instance, the gentleman 2 to my left dropped David Johnson right before he literally carried me and my entire team on his back to a couple $100. So just being aware of those things certainly makes a huge difference, especially down. But to that point, I would say there's a few pieces of serendipity that are involved in winning a championship. If you looked at my fantasy team last year, there weren't many injuries. I had a pretty healthy team all the way to the end. And so just being aware of that, and I think that goes back to that waiver wire. And then thirdly, I think it's just that humility, and I think there's some folks in the league that, they're pretty cocky, pretty prideful, and we've watched them fall, and that's, funny for us and really pretty sad for them.
A certain family sticks out.
Yes, absolutely. And so I'd say that that's my third piece is just, having fun and being confident in your team, but certainly, being able to hang your hat on a solid performance. And absolutely. I'm off to a decent start. I'm happy with being 2-0, but obviously I have a lot of work to do. Hopefully, I'm hoping to see Isaiah Crowell.
I'll be at seventh highest scoring.
And I recognize that. And so that's what I mean. I'm not overwhelmingly happy, and that's why I went with a pretty drastic trade. Like I said, I wanted to get out on the front end of that, and so hope to see dividends pay later on in the season. We'll see. I think everyone's hampered with injuries, so I can't use that as an excuse. I wish the best of luck to everyone, and hopefully people can get healthy and get back out on the field and play.
Love it. All right, well, Jay, thank you for being a guest.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to have you.
I would argue that I'm your guys' biggest fan. So,
and we appreciate it. You give us good feedback. You let us know you watched it and what you liked about it. So we definitely appreciate that.
Certainly.
So everybody in the studio audience, you guys could give Jay a big round of applause.
Wow.
Well deserved.
Enjoy your night with the wife.
I appreciate it. Wow.
I see somebody giving me a standing ovation.
Yeah. They were quiet at first, but they really were getting into it. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, that's going to bring us to our closing notes.
Closing notes, yeah. Thank you again to our reigning champ. It's always a pleasure having him on. He gives good insight. Never does too well with the games. I remember talking last year. I think we were talking about, what was it, best positional players or something. He was pretty far off on that.
We should bring that back. I like that one.
Yeah, he should pick up his research. But closing notes, it already seems like it's been an arduous season.
We're only 3 weeks in.
And man, I feel depleted sometimes after going through the waiver, figuring out who I'm playing.
This fantasy football is draining, and I think everybody who plays can attest to that, and those that don't, they don't really know.
Yeah, so I mean, stay strong, guys. It's a blast. Let's keep the competitiveness up. Let's say some prayers for those of like Morning Woodhead. See if they can fix their team and still compete in this league. It's no fun when you have bottom feeders, and you know they're going to be bottom feeders from here on out. So keep your heads up.
So we would like to take a couple minutes to thank our sponsors. First off, we have Corona. Great light beer. I think only 97 calories. And then it has a great taste. So
even better with the lime. I mean, guys, you get these snobs who like their craft beers. They talk to you about the IBUs and the amount of wheat or barley that goes into it, and it's sometimes you just got to.
It's all a headache.
It's a headache, and Corona keeps it simple.
So we encourage you to find your beach. Our beach is right here at this desk, talking to you.
Next sponsor we have Patagonia once again, guys. It's an encouraging product to own. It pushes you to get outdoors, to get off your butt, and they've got great gear.
Great gear.
They have been a great sponsor for us, supporting us all throughout this season. They actually contacted us going into this season too, and we're hoping to get on the show, so we appreciate their support.
As you can see, we're outfitted by them. If you want to know specifically what we're wearing and how you can get it, be sure to comment. We got Burger King. They're a new partner of ours, and they asked me to come on they asked me to promote their Cheetah's chicken fries on the show. So I'm going to do a quick review. Contractually, I'm not allowed to say anything bad about them, but they were a little bit underwhelming. I don't know. Jay thought they were doable, but sometimes when these fast food restaurants kind of go out there with these products, we got the Black Whopper, these new Cheetah's chicken fries, is hit or miss, and I think these were not necessarily a hit.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in them from the get-go, so glad you tried them, and I am happy to hear your review, and I will stay away from them. We'll probably lose another sponsor, but I'm not too disappointed in it. Last but not least, guys, DraftKings. We've been pushing this for 2 years now. Get out there, have some fun. As I said, I play every week. I'm up a couple $100.
I use the money I win to pay my bills.
Exactly, and pay my fantasy
free money.
Free money. Get on there, play, have some fun.
Remember our code Spock Dron. They'll match your first $200 deposit. So just enter that in there. Why not?
$200 free bucks. It is well worth it. So with that being said, guys, best wishes and good luck. You can follow Spock and I at John DeVries or John_DeVries on Twitter and Young Spock on Twitter as well for updates throughout the week.
Yeah, we love to interact with our fans, so you reach out to us, we'll reach out back to you. So that concludes episode 3 of the Jedi Council podcast.
Thanks as always, guys. Good luck this week.
Let's get Ezekiel signing out.